All right, welcome everybody. Chris Petri here. Thanks so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do a beautiful floral arrangement here with some still life. We're going to do some fruits, a coffee cup, a wine bottle, some gorgeous paint brushes here, some artist brushes, some artist watercolor tubes here, some tubes of paint, a gorgeous tablecloth with some blue stripes on that. We're going to have just a fantastic time painting this. I hope you'll take your time with this. We go step by step here, so you're not going to miss anything. You're going to see it as it goes each step of the way. We're going to do our contour drawing first, and then we do our painting. So you'll see how to draw it first, and then paint this. And you'll learn some other tidbits of information along the way too, because we're always covering all kinds of interesting techniques, methods, things that you can do as a watercolor artist to get better, to get an advantage of painting with watercolors. Watercolor's not easy. It's challenging. The more time you put into it, the better you're going to get. So all those things being said, let's get started, and we'll have a fun time together. And let's go. Just in a second, we'll get started. Okay. All right, welcome everyone. This is Chris Petri. Thanks so much for coming by. Welcome everybody. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by and painting and drawing along with us, or just watching. If you want to just watch watercolor videos, this is fantastic. It's a great way to kind of start out. Maybe you watch some videos, you see how we paint, how we draw, and then maybe you're going to start out on your own and you're going to start to, create some of your own paintings. So hopefully you will. And then those of you that have been here for quite a long time, I want to just thank you for coming by consistently. You're getting better at your watercolors. I know you're constantly growing, learning new techniques, new methods, new ways of making your watercolors better. So I'm really happy that you're all really excited about watercolors and you're really making progress. And you'll always leave me comments and say thank you, and you learn something from each video and so forth. So I'm just happy everyone's learning new things, having fun with watercolor, and that's what it's all about, just having a good time, growing, just trying to learn something maybe new each time we do a painting. Maybe we learn something not to do. I found that in the beginning when I was watercolor painting, I was always learning things not to do. And maybe I'll do a video on that, of things not to do, just so you kind of understand, like, it's not a problem if you are critical of yourself. You'll learn things and say, wow, I can't do that anymore because that didn't look good. That's a good thing. So don't feel bad if your paintings aren't coming out good every time. Most artists will tell you, especially the top pros, will tell you only like 1 out of every 10 paintings they paint are they're really happy with, that they think turned out really fantastic. So if the top professionals are telling you that 9 out of 10 paintings they paint are not all that great to them, that means it's okay. If you're finding that your paintings aren't that great, that's fine. You're actually on the right track, because that's what the real pros out there are saying. If you go really and look at the pros and all the professionals, the top people out there painting, even going back into history, all the great artists out there always say, only a few of my paintings that I do, out of all the paintings I paint, are the real great ones that I consider excellent works. So always remember that. You're going to have your issues when you paint your paintings, and you're going to have paintings you just need to throw to the side and start another one. Take the painting, flip it over. If you start this painting and it doesn't turn out good, flip it over, paint on the back of your paper. I do that all the time. So let's get started. We're just going to do, again, a beautiful flower painting here. We're going to do some flowers in a vase, a couple paint brushes, some tubes of paint, and maybe a wine bottle, and we'll just have a great time at this. So the first thing I do is I want to get my rectangle here so that we're working in a space that we can kind of define and say, okay, here's my rectangle. I'm going to be working in this rectangle here, this picture frame, so to speak. So now I got to deal with this, and this is all I have to deal with, and it's kind of a comfort. I know, okay, I've got to deal with this here. I don't have to worry about outside the paper, over there, over here, whatever. Right here's all the action. Okay, so if I just take my pencil and say, let me just make a really light preliminary sketch of just a silhouette of what I'm doing to make sure that I get it properly designed and laid out within this rectangle. So I want to fill my rectangle with subject matter. Case in point, just a quick tidbit. I don't know about you, but when I first started watercolor painting, I used to do this a lot. I don't want you to do this, so I'm going to mention it now, so maybe you kind of have a little bit of an idea of what not to do. I used to do this. I used to do this myself. I would have a piece of paper or watercolor paper like this, and I would say, okay, I'm going to do a flower painting with a vase. And then I would start out and I would go, okay, and I have my paper, my watercolor paper, my pencil, and I would start drawing and I'd go like this. And then maybe I was going to do like a couple pieces of fruit, maybe a still life type looking thing. Some fruit over here, maybe a bowl. And then I would realize, wow, when I got done with it, I said, I hardly used my rectangle here, my whole picture space. I was just putting in a little small amount of subject matter like that. And that didn't look pleasing, that didn't look good. So I learned that whenever I'm doing my painting, I always want to start out with thinking to myself, let me fill up this space with the subject matter I'm going to be working on, whether it's a house, some flowers, it might be a mountain with some trees, it might be a person on a beach walking in a sunset beach on the ocean, anything, any kind of scene. Let's fill up this picture space here. We have this whole picture space. Let's fill it up with subject matter. So we'd want to make the vase a lot bigger, and the flowers and the bouquet a lot bigger like that, and the fruit bigger like this. Can you see that? Do you see that? This is much more preferable and much more pleasant and pleasing and positive than having a small little bit of information, a little bit of subject matter in the center of your painting like that, where there's all that empty space around it. So let's remember that. That's why we do the preliminary sketch. The preliminary sketch will help you to avoid that. So that's why we do it. So now when we do our preliminary sketch, I'm working from a painting, but I really can't put that on camera right now. So I'm just going to start out, and this is the table. The table is about maybe down here. So I'm just doing a light preliminary sketch, a table. I'll turn up my lights maybe. See if I can brighten things up. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. Now it's too bright. Let's go. There we go. I think that's a little better. Okay, table. This is the light sketch here. And then we have the okay, that's the vase. And then I'm just going to do the outline and the silhouette of the flowers. So here I'm just going out to the outer edges here. I'm going to try to get my flowers looking good. There we go. And then maybe over here I have my bottle of wine. So I'm just doing a preliminary sketch here. A couple paint brushes down here. We'll do some paint brushes. Couple tubes of paint. Couple tubes of paint, maybe 2 or 3 over here. Okay, some tubes of paint. wine bottle, a couple paint brushes, a nice couple watercolor brushes. Maybe we'll do an apple over here. Maybe we'll do another orange over here. Maybe an orange and an apple. And maybe another, like a lemon over here. Maybe we'll do a lime over here. So we're just going to put some subject matter in our painting. Like that. And then maybe over here we're going to do a coffee cup. Like that. There we go. Okay, so we have all of our parts to our painting in here. I know it's kind of hard to see. Not a problem. We're going to go over this with a darker pencil line. We're going to do our contour drawing over this. But the main thing I wanted to kind of just cover is when you do that super light sketch, first, you get everything onto your paper, onto your fitting, putting everything in the picture space, your rectangle, and then you can say, yeah, that looks perfect. I wanted to fill this all up with subject matter. And then if you made it a little, let's say you made one or two things small, maybe you made the wine bottle too small, no problem. When you do a preliminary sketch, you do a little bit of erasing. You do a little bit of erasing and you just say, all right, I got to make that wine bottle bigger or smaller. I have to change where the where it's sitting on the table. Maybe I put it too close to the flowers. Maybe I got to move it away a little bit. Whatever. You can make a few minor changes to your preliminary sketch, your very light silhouette sketch, and it's no problem. You're never going to see it. And then once you have everything good, perfect, then you go back and do your darker pencil lines over top. So let's do that. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do our darker contour drawing over the top of this, where we're going to start our drawing and just keep going all the way through contour drawing this entire still life here with flowers. So this is like basically a flowers still life painting. Okay, so we'll come right back and we'll get started. And I always mention too, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Right down below the screen here on the right hand side, there's a little subscribe button. I want you to subscribe because number one, you're going to be alerted every time we make a new video. You'll be alerted. You'll know when we make our video. You'll be able to watch it, have a great time, watch it through. If you don't want to necessarily paint it, you can always watch it and just learn the techniques and the methods that we're showing here on every video with watercolor. So you're going to learn all those watercolor techniques and methods as you watch each video each week as we go. And I'm always making new videos every week, and you'll be seeing every different type of subject matter in watercolor. Flowers, seascapes, landscapes. We're doing still lifes. We're doing figures, portrait paintings. We do everything here. So if you stick here on my channel, you're going to learn a lot of great new things in watercolor, and I'm really excited for you. So please hit that subscribe button, and this way you'll be all set. You'll be getting my videos week after week, and then this way you can have them. You'll be able to look at them. If you want to try them, you'll be doing it. You'll be drawing and painting everything. And then if you're not so interested in maybe a certain subject matter, maybe you don't like cabins or houses in the mountains, you skip that one and you wait till the next one, because we're always changing our format here. I mean, as far as our subject matter, we're always changing our paintings, what we're painting, but we're always painting in watercolor. So you're always going to be learning the same techniques, and that's what you have to do. To get better at watercolors, you have to practice those same techniques over and over until they become second nature to you, like driving a car. When, after driving a vehicle, if you're, most people drive. After driving a long time, after a couple years or so, you don't even think about it. You're just shifting, you're putting the brakes on, the gas on, you're steering, you're doing all these different things. You're steering, you're hitting the gas, you're hitting the brakes. You're doing all those things and you don't even realize it, but it's all second nature to you. It's automatic pilot, so to speak. And that's what you have to do with watercolor. If you want to get better, keep practicing. Keep practicing. You'll wind up learning all the things you have to do. That'll be just automatic pilot. You won't have to think of those. And then you can use your main focus will be on the real key things you have to focus on your painting, like how fast your paint's drying, what's the next thing you're going to do on your painting, how quick do you got to move, is the paint drying quicker, is it drying less, all these different things you're going to learn in watercolor. It takes time. Don't get frustrated. Keep painting, keep trying, flip your paper over, throw your paper to the side, grab a new sheet, start another painting. Don't get frustrated. It takes years. It takes years to get good at watercolor. Don't let anyone, let anyone tell you otherwise. Okay? And that's why I say subscribe, because you got to keep coming back and watching over and over, because that's how you're going to get good. Repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. The more you repeat things, the more skillful you become. The less you repeat things, you're not going to get a lot of skill with it. So if you want to have that skill, you have to repeat it over and over. You have to watch over and over. Watch the videos over and over. Practice the techniques and the methods over and over, and you will continue to get better. I promise you. Okay? We'll be right back. All right, we're back. We're getting excited here. We're going to do our contour drawing. Let's get started. And again, we just did our preliminary sketch, outlining a silhouette of all the parts of our subject matter that we're going to have here in this painting. Flowers, a vase, a coffee cup or teacup. We have some fruit here, an orange, an apple, a lemon. We have a lime over here, a wine bottle, some paint brushes, some artist paint brushes here, and some paint tubes of paint. If you don't want to paint as much detail, or you only want to do a few things in this still life, that's fine too. Maybe we won't do everything here. Maybe we'll just paint the flowers in the wine bottle and we'll leave it at that. But I did draw in the other things in case we want to keep doing this and keep working on it. But let's contour draw this, and I'm just going to start off and go slow. And I want to try to keep a rhythm as I go. So that's with contour drawing. We're trying to kind of get a rhythm going. We're going to go slow sometimes to get small, fine details. Then we're going to go quicker sometimes when we have larger shapes and ideas and subject matter that where we can go a little quicker. So that's the kind of the idea of it. But the main thing is to kind of start in one place and then just work outward from that one place. And I usually like to start right in the center of the bouquet of flowers and then go from there. So I'm hoping that this is going to look good. Let me see if I can turn this. Okay, I'm going to start here. And I'm just going to go right along here and keep going. And notice I'm trying to stay within the close proximity to all the other things I'm drawing. This gives me a little better idea of how large I have to make each different part of the bouquet and the and now I'm going out further out in the bouquet, at the top of the bouquet here, just to I'm able to do that because I have all these other things to relate to as I go. Some more flowers over here. I hope you're having fun watching this and seeing that I'm kind of trying to get my rhythm here as I go. There we go. And again, I don't worry too much. I know I'm going to do a lot of painting in here. There's going to be a lot of painting, abstract style painting within this bouquet. We can't paint every flower the same way. So some flowers we're going to paint here in this bouquet more detailed, and others we're going to leave a little more abstract. So this way the eye can look around the bouquet and focus on a few flowers here and there, and then move on to the next one. So if you leave a couple of the flowers, you know, with more detail, and then you leave a few more with more abstract look, that'll help the viewer to be able to move around a little easier through the bouquet as they're looking at it. If every flower is drawn perfectly, then the eye and the person viewing it is going to be kind of like stressed, because they're going to be like trying to see, you know, their eyes are going to have a hard time moving around the painting. So if you can make some of your flowers detailed and then make other ones more softer and diffused and not as detailed, you're going to be better off. I think it'll have an overall better pleasing look, but you have to do it your way. You're the artist. You have to decide how you're going to do your painting. I can only share with you what I know and what I've learned and what I think is going to look the best. But sometimes you're going to want to do your painting a little different, and that's fine. Every artist is different. You're going to maybe have a different spin on what you're doing here, but that's fine. I don't try to say you have to do it exactly my way. I'm just sharing with you my way, how I do it. And then, you know, you can, you know, make variations to it. That's fine. So here my bouquet is pretty much completed. I'll start moving into my vase here. So I'm going to make my vase here. I'll make the handle over here. And then we'll go over here. And I think I will do an orange here. And then we'll do an apple here. And then I'm going to do maybe a lemon over here. I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to do a coffee cup. So, and then we'll do our wine bottle. We'll do the label. I'll work right around the bottle. Okay, I should have did this first. That's okay. We'll do this here. Okay. In the back of the table here, then we have a line, maybe a line here. And we'll have a little shadow under the line, a shadow under the cup. I'll just try to just slightly put in the shadows so I know I have to do that. And then here we're going to do our paintbrush. Like that, and then brush like this. And we'll do another paintbrush here. Maybe a smaller paintbrush. Like that. And maybe we'll do a couple tubes of paint. And a little bit of shadows under the tubes of paint. No big deal. If you don't want to do all the details of the brushes and the tubes of paint, you can let that go. You don't have to do everything here. You can add and delete. Always remember, when you're the artist, if you're doing a painting, no matter what type of painting it is, whether you're working from photographs, still life, if you're working outdoors, working from books, art teaching books, whatever it is, if you want to make it easier for yourself, leave out a few things, and then you can draw and paint from there. When I first started, and then even, you know, after 4 or 5 years, I started to realize maybe it's better if I break my paintings down a little bit. So what I would do is I would maybe paint just the flowers and the vase for, you know, 2 or 3 times. Then I would try painting a bottle 2 or 3 times in a row. Then I would paint a couple pieces of fruit, like an apple and a lime and a orange, and I would paint those like 2, 3, 4 times on a separate piece of paper each time. And then I found that if I just tried painting separate parts to a larger painting first, then after a while it would all just come together, because when I'd get to the fruits, I'd say, oh yeah, I've already painted the fruit 5 times, 10 times. Oh, I've the bottle of wine here, I painted that 5 or 6 times. Ah, the flowers in the vase, I painted that 20 times already. You know, I've got this. And you know, so that's how I kind of did it. It really helped to break things down into smaller parts. So don't be afraid. Break your paintings down if you want. Try just maybe some fruit at first, 2, 3 times. You know, and then you move on. You do a couple paintbrushes a few times, a couple of pieces of fruit, maybe a coffee cup a few times. You draw and paint each item 2 or 3 times first. Then by the time you do the whole thing all together, you've already practiced each part, and then it goes a lot smoother, a lot easier. Trust me, that really works. That's a great method to try. You don't have to do it every time, but if you try it, maybe just on this one painting, you'll see it really does help a lot. You'll be more comfortable doing each part as you're putting this all together into one painting. So I'll get the back of my table here just to make sure I have that, and that's it. All right, perfect. We got everything here. Contour drawing is complete, and the fun part is going to be the painting of this. So we'll come back, we'll do the painting next, and again, the painting is going to be the fun part. Once we get the drawing in, I think it goes a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun, and it's, you know, goes quicker, and it's more, you know, we all enjoy the painting part, right? It's the awesome part is doing the paints, the brushes, the water, the paints. We have a great time with that. So that's really fantastic. Let's have a fun time with that. Sometimes the pencil drawings, you know, takes a little bit. We got to adjust it a little bit, erase a little bit, you know, do things, you know, lay it out first like we did with the preliminary sketch. But trust me, once you get all these processes down one to the next, it'll eventually go very, very smooth for you. But in the beginning, it's a little difficult if you're not used to painting this way or doing the different steps as you go through a painting. And there's even more you can incorporate into this. There's more steps you can add into this, but I don't want to get too much detail going at one time. But we will cover other different things you can do first before you do this painting. That's going to help make it a little easier and help you to see maybe, let's say, colors a little better, tonal values a little better, your darks, your lights. But we'll get to that in another video. But first off, let's continue to have fun. Let's take a break, and then we'll come right back and we'll start painting. I'm just going to have a little bit of coffee, maybe some rest and relaxation. I'll sit down, maybe watch a YouTube video or something like that, and then I'll be back in just a few. All right, we're back and we're ready to start painting. This is the fun part. Let's get excited. We're going to get into the beautiful colors of our palette here. We have lots of options and choices here with our colors, but we're going to pretty much stick to our game plan of keeping our palette clean. Let's keep our palette clean. I'm going to have to tape down my palette. So I'm going to tape down my palette just to keep it from moving around. Okay. So I'm just securing down my palette with some tape. That's pretty good. I think that would be fine. I'm going to get started here. So I'm going to use a number 6 Raphael Kolinsky Sable. I have a fresh clean water in a collapsible Holbein water container. Over here, you can always use a sponge to check off water. So you might set your sponge right by your water container and then check off a little bit of water, tap a little bit of water off once you rinse your brush, because you're constantly rinsing your brush. That's a given with watercolor artists. We always are rinsing our brushes and then tapping off a little bit of water on a sponge, on a tissue, on a paper towel. And what happens is, you're constantly going back and rinsing your brush because you're always mixing different colors, and you want to rinse your brush just so you have a nice clean brush as you're going in and doing more mixes and different things when you're mixing on your palette. So that's the tendency for watercolor artists. We always are constantly rinsing our brush in the water bucket, water container, tapping off a little bit of water once we're done rinsing, just so we're not going back in and flooding with water flooding out of our brush and onto our palette. We want to make sure we keep our palette, with just a little bit of water in the colors. Maybe we could spritz a little bit with our water spritzer. So that's really the ideal way to kind of get a little bit of moisture on your palette in your paint box. You just do a little bit of spritzing with the clean, fresh water. And then you don't want to flood this with too much water, because then you're not going to be able to get your really strong, dark tonal values of your paints as you go into your watercolor. So you want to just spritz it very lightly, your paints. And that's really all you need to worry about. And then we'll start with our flowers, maybe. And I'll put a little bit of green out in the palette here. I might go to a smaller brush. I think I'll go to my Da Vinci travel brush number 4. So we'll get some burnt umber mixed in with that sap green, cobalt blue, a little bit of cobalt blue in there too, and we'll see how that works out. Let's start doing our. So I'm going to go in with some darks. The thing with alla prima, if you're painting alla prima, and this is alla prima, basically we're painting this all at one time, all in one go. We're not doing the glazing technique here in this painting with this, with the flowers and the subject matter we have here. We're not really doing a glazing technique where we're washing everything with a light wash and then coming over another wash over with the darker tonal values. We're just going to go right in and start doing all of the painting at one time. So we're going in straight away with our darker tonal values. So I'm going to get some of those darks going here. And I'm going to just going to start getting my darks in here. And I'm just going to use all my greens: sap green, viridian green, cerulean blue, cobalt blue. I'm just trying to get some colors out here. I'm not taking a long time to do this. I'm going to try to move quickly here. So this is the vase here. So we're going to try to pretend there's some water in here. And then some and I'm just trying to make some shapes here. A couple splashes. Alizarin crimson, just to start mixing in some alizarin crimson into our painting down here, because we're going to use it up top in the flowers. So let's mix it in here. There we go. We could get some darker colors in there. We can do a little negative shade painting. We paint around the handle, like so. And then our handle will appear for our vase. I'm going to splash a little bit. So, just a good thing to remember. Here we go. Okay, there we go. And we're going to try to mix a little blue. There we go. Okay, so we're doing pretty good here. We have our vase with some interesting shapes going in there, a couple splashes. Purple, do some purple. Color in there. Okay, there we go. I tried to capture the water line in the vase here with that little bit of a line there. And then let's keep working up into our flowers. Plenty of greens, and we're going to leave some whites within those flowers and green leaves and twigs and stems and things that we have here. So I'm just going to try to carefully place some dark darks. Okay, alizarin crimson, a little bit of cadmium orange. As you work, try to utilize your palette, your paint box, and if you say, I need a little more room for some maybe some like warmer colors like alizarin crimson, cadmium red, cadmium orange. If you have a lot of greens mixed, just lift out, take a little bit of the greens out of here, give yourself some more room. Your palette's your friend. You can clean things up on there to make more room as you go. You just take a couple seconds, take a little time out, say to yourself, where can I mix? If I need to mix some more warm colors, let me keep them together in this section over here. Well, I can clean up a little section over here, make some more warms over here, and then just keep the greens over here and then down here. So you move around as you need to. and should work out fine. A little bit of gold, cadmium lemon yellow. Cadmium lemon yellow there. Okay, so we're doing well here. We're going to do some warmer colors for the flowers. And then we can go around that with some darks. Have some fun with this. There's another flower over here on the right. So I'm just trying to set up my subject matter across from me. I really can't share my picture right now, my photograph, because then that's might be a copyright issue. So I try to be careful with my copyright situations. Okay, and there's some more green leaves over here. They're kind of coming across and touching over to the by the wine bottle over here. And let's see. Let's continue with our gorgeous flowers here. A little purple, some alizarin crimson. Some more purple over here, maybe some darker purple, just get some darks in there. Now's a good time to maybe do some darks. So you take straight paint, straight sap green here and there. Try to maybe find a few spots where you think there's some really dark darks. There's going to be some more cobalt blue, French ultramarine blue. Get those darks in too once in a while, you know, add some darks. And we'll continue on. We have plenty of greens here. Then some more pinks and purples and alizarin crimson. Maybe a little bit of just very subtle blue and purple over here. And we can go over the top of that. With a leaf, so you can add little leaves around other flowers. You could lift up a little bit, add some color. And I'm just trying to make color forms that look like flowers and leaves as I go right through this painting here. And we have some, and I'm trying not to fuss around too much. A little bit of splashing. Try to get some more greens over here. Greens, a little bit of burnt umber in that green. There we go. And then a little more alizarin crimson over here. I let that sit for a few minutes. A little bit of raw umber. Some more flower colors, the pinks, a little bit of the cadmium yellow, cadmium orange. I'm trying to mix those same colors around. There we go. A little more of that, a little more purple. Raw umber and sap green, just a little bit of a mix to warm up that green a little bit. There we go. Some more purple over here. And as you can see, we're just really having a fun time with our colors. We're just following our pencil drawing underneath to get our basic shapes of our flowers. We're using our greens everywhere because our greens are everywhere. Leaf forms, stems, but we leave some white paper there too. You don't want to cover the whole interior of your floral arrangement with just too much color and darks and light. You know, you have to leave some white paper in there. It gives it more a feeling of lightness, if that's a good way to put it. Okay, so there you go. We have plenty of color, plenty of interesting color in there. You can see we're doing all of our flower colors. With our pinks, our cadmium yellow, cadmium orange, alizarin crimson, And then we have our greens, so we're doing plenty of greens for our leaf forms. Definitely want to do that. Wonderful. And we're just going to keep going here. We've got look at that, plenty of gorgeous color for our floral arrangement here. You definitely want to get some of those really dark darks here and there. You don't want to skip on the darks. You want to definitely kind of get them, put them in. As we go. Okay, well, let's continue on. Raw umber, and let's do that. Raw, we're going to leave a label here. Let's do this here. Okay, just wanted to add that in there. Let's do our wine bottle. A little bit of yellow ochre, green, sap green. Let's have a fun time with that. Lots of color. There we go. And you just kind of have fun with the and then maybe we'll have a little bit of shadow up top. And we'll put a little bit of shadow over here. Just to give that a little bit of a and let's see what's next here. Maybe a little bit of shadowing over here. Then I just dampen the brush. There we go. I just dampen the brush and then slowly fade that wash to the light. And what else do we have here? Okay, so now I'm getting to the point where I think we could take a break. We've been working a half an hour now, so usually 20 minutes, half an hour, that's really my peak. Then I'm really like ready to take a break, relax just a few minutes or so, maybe 5-10 minutes, and then come back in again and finish up the painting. But you can see here we've got a really nice feel for everything. We've got mostly, we've got all of our flowers completed and our leaves and stems and things like that. We might have to do a little more details in here, but this looks pretty good. And then we did our wine bottle over here, and the vase. So now that we have this major central portion of this completed and it looks pretty good, we're just going to take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up our fruit and our paintbrushes on the table here, and maybe we'll do a little background wash on the background here. But I think this is pretty good. You know, as far as from the table upward, it looks pretty good with the wine bottle, the flowers, the vase. That looks all pretty good. Maybe a little more wash behind here, but I think we're in pretty good shape right now. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll come right back. Okay, hey, we're back, everybody. This is Chris Petri, and we're getting back into the painting here. We were just speaking about how we're taking all of our focus and we put it into the flowers, the vase, and the wine bottle for our first, 20 minutes as we painted. Now we're just going to finish up. We'll do our fruit, our coffee cup, and our paint brushes here, our artist brushes, and maybe some paint tubes, here, some tubes of paint that we have. So we made this a nice still life. But the real focal point is the flowers and the vase and the wine bottle. That's pretty much the really powerful focal point of the painting. And then these other things that we're putting in here, the fruit, the cup, some paint brushes and so forth. Those are just like things that are like sort of like they just enhance the painting. They make it a little more interesting so that when you're looking at the flowers, you come down, your eyes look around down on the table, you see the fruits, the coffee cup, the artist paint brushes. You have a good time. You're looking around on this painting, and you have a lot of things that make your you feel excited when you're looking at this painting, because there's a lot of interesting things going on in one area in this rectangle. So that's the thing. You want to pack a lot of interesting things in your rectangle, your frame. So that's really important. If we just put a vase and flowers and a wine bottle and nothing else, it could look good too. That might be just a nice, composition in itself. But if you add some other things too, that can look good. So it's up to you. You're the artist. You decide how much impact you want to have with your painting, how much information, how much subject matter you're going to cram into your focal point, into your rectangle here. It's up to you, but let's continue on painting. And I always mention too, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hey, you're going to miss out. Every week we're making new videos here. So I just want everyone here to have a great time painting, drawing and painting along with us here. And if you subscribe, you'll always get the videos. It'll, alert you and say, there's a new watercolor video out. And we'll be here, we'll be drawing, we'll be painting. We might be doing flowers right now. The next video might be a boat scene, some ocean. It might be a cityscape. It might be some figures, whatever it is. If you subscribe right down here below, that little red button, subscribe button on the right-hand side underneath this screen here, if you click that subscribe button, you're going to be really benefiting, because if you're trying to learn watercolor, you're obviously, if you stick right here, you're going to learn a lot, and then you're going to, be able to apply that to your paintings and your work. So that's what I want here. That's my goal, to help you paint better, have better paintings, more beautiful artwork. You'll be happier. That's the goal here. The happier the more you succeed at watercolor, the more you learn, you'll be happier. You'll be creating better paintings. You'll be having more fun, and it won't be a chore, or it won't be, you know, kind of lackluster. You'll have a good time with it. So let's continue on here. We're going to have a fun time as we go. Let's get more into this. You'll see some more exciting colors as we go, as well as we paint in some of this fruit and some of these other things here we have on the table, our paint brushes, artist brushes. So let's have a fun time. Let's keep going. So here, let's see now. Okay, let's start out with a nice alizarin crimson. And let's get our delicious apple. Look at that, huh? Okay, so we have some alizarin crimson. Let's make some shadow color, a little bit of green and blue, a little bit of green and blue for some shadow color on the bottom of this. And then let's continue with some more green and blue. Then we add some more alizarin crimson to the bottom, and then we get our shadow, which is going to be a little bit of the same thing, blue. Good. Then some more alizarin crimson here. Perfect. Now let's maybe go with some cadmium lemon yellow. Let's make a lemon over here. I would be careful making this lemon next to this red apple. Sometimes the colors can mingle. I'd leave a little bit of space there between the two. And that's what I'm going to do. Yellow ochre for the shadow with a little bit of cerulean blue. Or some blue here. We'll use any old blue here. Blue green. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. And then I'll leave a little bit of light on the top of that lemon there, a little bit of spot of light. Then let's go with an orange. Look at that, straight cadmium orange. Look at that. I just rinsed my brush, tapped off a little bit of water on a tissue, right onto the paper with straight, fresh squeeze tube paint. And look at that effect we get. Gorgeous. Maybe a little bit of alizarin crimson there too in the middle of that, just to give it a little interesting color. I rinse off my brush, dry off the water, and then just mix that little bit of alizarin crimson on there. Right there in the center. There's some reflected light from the table up there, so we leave that like that there. Maybe a little bit of cadmium red. Rinse off the brush, dry off the water. And there we go. I leave a little bit of white paper on the top of that orange. And since this is an orange, I'm going to make it a little bit more round. Like that. So we just go in there and paint over the pencil line there. Don't worry about it. Blue-green. Just a little bit of shadowing quickly. Perfect. There we go. We don't want to fuss around too much. There we go. Then we're going to do maybe a white cup. So we're going to do very little to this. We're going to put some shadow on there. A bit of shadow there. And I'll put a little bit of color there where the handle is. Sometimes you have to lift up if you find that if you've gone over there we go. Maybe a little bit of raw umber there. Then I'll just mix up some color here. A little bit of background color just to kind of blend it in there. A little bit of splashing. Okay, so we have some of the mug there, and then some blue and purple. Let's do shadow. Warm and cool. Okay. Edge of the table. Okay, let's do the we'll do a lime over here. Okay, so we got straight sap green there. Let's get some blue and raw umber. A little more shadow color underneath. French ultramarine blue. And then we will do some shadowing. A little bit of raw umber. Yellow ochre, raw umber, a little bit of purple maybe. There we go. Then we'll go with some lighter green for up top. And we'll have a little bit of that light. So we have our lime over here. We leave a little bit of that light on top of the lime, that little bit of white light. That looks good. And let's shift to our smaller brush now, the number 4 Da Vinci travel brush. Let's do our watercolor brushes. So we'll just do that. I start off with the point of the brush. You see how pointy that brush is? I start off with the point over here and just slowly press down the brush to make it wider. And then right to there. Same with this. Make it wider, then lift up a little bit. There we go. Then we go with a little bit of you could tap up a little bit of paint off the paintbrushes just to, there we go. Don't worry about this kind of little stuff. If you have some smudges, don't worry about the smudges. They look good actually. Then we have the brown and raw umber for the paint brush itself, the hairs of the brush. So I just paint the hairs of the brush in there, like that. Then I'll take some purple. We'll make a little bit of a shadow under here. You can add some blue to that, maybe some cobalt blue to the purple for the shadow, and then also some yellow ochre or raw sienna, just to make it a little, you know, have some warm and cool. You could go in with some warm first, then a little bit of purple, a little bit of blue, there you go. So we have some shadow under there. That shadow's going to lighten up a little bit, so that'll look good. And then we'll maybe put some finishing touches here. We'll have our paint tubes like that. We'll make an alizarin crimson paint tube, a cobalt blue maybe over here. Cobalt blue, alizarin crimson, maybe some cadmium yellow. And then we can just add some shadow under there. That's all. A little bit of shadow under the paint tubes. Just for a little bit of effect, you know, a little bit of realism here. A little bit of shadowing on the sides of the tube. Like that. A little bit of splashes along here on the table. Then we're going to go with our shift back up to our larger brush. This is a number 6 Raphael brush, natural hair brush. Let's get some cerulean blue. cerulean blue. Maybe a little bit of yellow ochre over here. So I'm just trying to add a little bit of color there. You can blot up a little bit if you want. I might add a little bit of alizarin crimson over here. Okay, just to bring a little bit of interest over here to this side, the right side, blend the red over here, so alizarin crimson over here, a little bit over there, just to mix it. Kind of blend the colors around. There we go. And just a little, the tiniest bit of wash up here, maybe a little bit of purple. And I blot up a little bit. Maybe some cerulean blue up here. Just a little bit of scrubbing around to give it some interesting look. And I think we have a fun painting that we have a fun painting here that we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with this painting, adding lots of color, lots of tonal values, darks, lights, beautiful colors. We've used almost all the colors of our palette, not quite everything, but we used a lot of colors here, so we have lots of beautiful color here. We can also maybe add a little bit of maybe some tablecloth ideas here. Maybe we'll do some stripes on our tablecloth, on our table here. So you can always add a little more interest to your There we go. So I'm going to add some blue stripes to our painting. Go. There we go. That's all. We add a little bit of a pattern to our and then you can always be a little more careful with the way you put your stripes on your tablecloth here. I think I just did this, I'm improvising right now. I'm not really. You could kind of work from a photo or something to get it a little more accurate. I think it's not too bad. But that looks pretty good. The shadows under this here can be a little darker. I'll add a little bit of darker shadow there. There's a little bit of shadow that should be under this bottle. Purple, burnt umber. And you can take some of this burnt, ivory black and Payne's gray. You could add that to some of your other sections of your painting. To just mix that color around a little bit, even in your flowers. And that'll actually look good. So I'm going to add some of that. Go. Okay, I think that's actually perfect. Have fun with this, enjoy. Just, you know, have a really good time with the colors, the shapes of the flowers. This is basically roses with leaf forms, a simple wine bottle. You know, sometimes you can always paint if you think sometimes you might feel your shapes of things aren't that perfect. You know, you can always add some more color to things there. So I think this looks pretty good. Couple of splashes there. Couple of smudges here and there. That looks good. Okay. Again, thanks again for watching, everybody. Have fun with this again. No stress. Just try it a few times, 2-3 times. Try, you know, maybe try a few of the smaller parts first. Maybe try a wine bottle a few times. Maybe try out a couple of fruits here. We have a red delicious apple. So you try out a couple things at a time. Get a little stem on this here. And you know, you try a few things at a time, and then you put them all together maybe a little bit down the road, maybe a month or two later, after you try a couple of the smaller parts first. Or if you want to go for the gusto, just go for it. Go for the whole enchilada, and do everything at one time too. Have a fun time with it. Okay, so we're gonna be back, and you know, before you know it, we'll be back. We'll make another video. We'll do something more interesting. I think I have a boat painting I'm going to be prepping for, maybe for tomorrow. So who knows? But definitely have a good time with this. Enjoy. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.